I'd say about maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I came across this audio. It's called A Terror Barrier by Bob Proctor. And this video talks about something that is a concept, a conceptual model of an experience that we all go through when we are evolving and growing in personal development. And the idea behind it is that we have a paradigm. And this paradigm governs how we behave, how we navigate reality, and the kind of results that we get. And the paradigm is a multitude of behaviors, habits, and subconscious mind programming, and fears, and different kinds of information that is stored deep within our subconscious mind that literally prevents us from achieving the kind of success that we want if our paradigm is not in alignment with that success or part of that success. And as a result of studying business and personal development information, one of the things that happens is we have to take action. We have to apply what we learn. We have to try something. And if we do something that is both exciting and scary, what happens is we experience something called, eventually on the journey where we have to take an action, the terror barrier. Now, this video goes into detail the way Bob Proctor explains it. I'm going to put a link in the description, as well as a post on the Proctor Gallagher website. And I recommend you study it. The reason why it took me so many years to make this video is because I watched this one video over again, thousands of times, and I allowed that information to seep in. And each time I took the video contents, applied the contents for various areas of my life, came back to the video, I started to understand this concept even more. And this is to be said about any kind of profound information, especially something that evolves the paradigm. Okay, it changes your reality around. How you believe reality to work is a net result of what you think. Okay, what you think creates reality. How you believe reality to work is based on your mind, and your mind creates everything. Everything in this world is materialized as a result of your mind. And as your paradigm changes, the reality, circumstance, people, environments materialize and dematerialize to reflect that vibration that you go in within as a result of your thinking. Joseph Campbell says, "The cave we fear to enter holds the treasure we seek." The cave we fear to enter holds the treasure we seek. Think about a time in your life where you made a decision that you were going to move forward with something that was in the alignment of the desire that you wanted. Maybe you wanted to reach out and connect with somebody. Maybe you wanted to leave your job. Maybe you wanted to start a business. Maybe you wanted to do something that was exciting and scary, yet you knew that you had to do it. You need to take that step to do it because it was required for you to produce that result that you wanted. And then all of a sudden, fear crippled you. Whatever it was that you had to do, fear got in the way. You started to feel fear. And that fear turned to anxiety in your body, and you experienced all kinds of doubt, hesitation, and different kinds of negative thinking that was a manifestation of that feeling, which was the vibration that you went into as a result of identifying with that fear. But yet, you took the action anyways. And after you take the action, you realize that you ended up getting the result that you wanted. Success was yours. Now, the only thing that held you back was that deciding moment of whether you should step over this invisible terror barrier. Okay, there was this fear that you experienced, and then you were moving towards this fear, and then you had a pivotal moment. You either step over and take the action, or you step back and go into your comfort zone. That moment was the moment where you were crossing your terror barrier. Here's a diagram that I pulled from the Proctor Gallagher website. Again, I'll put the link in the description. So in your comfort zone, what you experience is comfort, and very little change happens in your comfort zone. You remain predominantly the same day in and day out. When you get an idea to start a business, to evolve yourself, to become a higher version of yourself, to embark on a journey of personal development, health, fitness, to create success in public speaking, or just about anything we talk about on this channel, you experience something called the why idea. Maybe you watch a video, maybe you read a book, maybe within you, you get an idea. And this idea stimulates you into moving into action to do something that you've never done before. The moment you experience this, what happens is conflict. See, what's normal for the body and normal for the mind is the comfort zone, X vibration. The body experiences X, the conscious mind, which is this top part here, experiences X, and the subconscious mind, the bottom part here, experiences X, and all is well. But when the I idea comes in, you entertain it in your mind, and you start to get excited in the conscious mind, and then it starts to go and impress itself on the subconscious mind. Now all of a sudden, your subconscious mind starts to react to it. It's your paradigm. It's your subconscious ideas. It's your belief systems and everything that you have learned from your past that is contrarian to the Y idea that begins to surface. And right away, the body starts to move into this X and Y vibration, which is a combination of the Y and the X, okay? X being homeostasis and Y being the new idea that is going to step you outside of your comfort zone. Your body experiences the X and Y idea conflicting with each other, and then comes the pivotal moment, about to take action. You feel anxiety, you feel stress, you feel like you don't want to do it, and you have two choices. You could either go back to your comfort zone, in other words, let go of the Y idea, and allow yourself to be saturated with the X ideas and the X way of thinking, which is essentially whatever kind of information you're consuming, the circumstance, the environment, and whatever else that you're feeding your senses and the meaning that you're giving to it that keeps you in your comfort zone. Or you could take the action. You can move forward. You can step into the unknown, whatever it is. Approach the person on the street to have a conversation with them because they look interesting to you. Reach out to the prospect that will be interested in buying. Start the business. Ask for a raise. Do whatever it is that you know you have to do to create your vision. Now, if you do it, what you realize is that nothing bad happens. What happens is you step into a Y-level realization, a whole new world, a different vibration. You actually move your body into that same frequency of that idea, and your subconscious mind starts to adjust to it. And if you support the information that you are experiencing in a positive way as a result of taking that action step, in other words, you are feeling gratitude and finesse and grace and empowerment and whatnot from taking that action, you're consuming information, you're surrounding yourself with people that encourage that action that you've taken, and you continue to build upon it, what happens is you change. Your paradigm changes. And you can do this over and over again, changing your paradigm over and over again. So what happens then is if you have to take a similar action, which is one that will also produce the same result, which is what you want, it'll be easy for you to do it. You'll do it automatically. You'll do it without thinking about it. So let's explore this a little deeper and relate it back to the video. It's the repetition that creates awareness in our mind. See, now, this concept that we talk about here, and even one of the reasons why I watched that same video that Bob Proctor did thousands of times, is conceptually it makes sense, and we've experienced it. We look back at our own reference experience, and we know it's true. But the issue is the paradigm. The paradigm does not want to change. Okay, this is homeostasis. You've been comfortable for the most part where you are, and stepping out of your comfort zone, really for your paradigm, what's the point? So the only way that you can step out of your comfort zone, the only way you will take action is through repeat consumption of this kind of information. That's why I watched that video over and over again. Because the idea to step out of your comfort zone and take the action, whatever it is that you need to do to create the success that you want, is going to trigger that terror barrier. You're going to feel it. And in that moment, you might not have anyone around to tell you, hey, you've got to make this move. But one of the things that will happen is this information will surface. Some way, somehow, a voice in your head will show up and say, take the action. This is the terror barrier. And nothing bad is going to come out of it. In fact, everything good is going to come out of it. And you'll take the action. Now, when you combine that by supporting information, supporting people, supporting environment, you're more likely to step through the terror barrier. because you're supported. That information is going in and reprogramming your subconscious mind and supporting you so that you will take the action. Now, it's the actions that you take, and I'm speaking about this through experience now after watching this video many years ago and implementing this in all areas of my life to create success in business and relationship. And by the way, I'm giving that story about approaching the person because that's how I met my girlfriend. I met my girlfriend because I saw her, I talked to her, and I asked her for her phone number, and she said no. In fact, she said no 3 times, and I felt the terror barrier. But it's through the repetition of doing it over and over again, overcoming my terror barrier, where a lot of times I don't even notice the terror barrier. I just plow right through it. I just go and take the step anyways. Because I know my intent is good, and I know my value is good, and I know that I am making it about win-win-win, win for me, win for her, and win for divine or evolution by taking that action. And the only thing that is holding me back is my own indecision, fears, and doubts, and I choose not to entertain them. Now, why do I choose not to entertain fears, doubts, and indecision? Well, in Think and Grow Rich, he says, if you've got the original manuscript, page 327, before you can put any portion of this philosophy, which is how to outwit the 6 ghosts of fear, into successful use, you must be prepared to receive it. The preparation is not difficult. It begins with the study, analysis, and understanding of the 3 enemies which you shall forever have to clear out. Which you shall have to clear out. I'm going to emphasize that. These are indecision, doubt, and fear. The 6th sense will never function while these 3 negatives or any of them remain in your mind. The members of these unholy trio are closely related. Where one is found, the other 2 are close at hand. If at any point you encourage by giving in to indecision, doubt, and fear, when you know that the action is in the spirit of harmony, win, 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 then you are lowering your self-esteem, your self-confidence, and you're giving in to the terror barrier, and you're denying yourself of freedom, and you're denying yourself of the freedom for the other person that you are participating with. Now, that be relationships, business contexts, friendships, etc. The terror barrier shows up, and this is something that we have to recognize and take very seriously and utilize this understanding here to help us overcome. So again, let's get a little deeper into this. So repetition of information, listening to this audio, however you're consuming it, whether you're watching the video or the audio, over and over again, taking action, coming back and listening to it over and over again, studying the stuff that Bob Proctor put out of the terror barrier over and over again, that's what's going to help you overcome the terror barrier when it reveals itself in whatever it is that you have to do to create the results that you want. Now, awareness goes up as a result of repetition. The more you hear this information over and over again, the more awareness you gain. In the work by David Hawkins, he talks about levels of consciousness. As consciousness goes up, awareness increases. You start to see yourself as part of a bigger picture. You start to make more of the darkness within yourself conscious. As Carl Jung says, you cannot become enlightened by imagining beings of light, but by making the darkness conscious. You become more aware of the subconscious programming within yourself that was holding you back. And then what you got to do is you got to go to work to remove this subconscious programming. Subconscious mind affirmations, autosuggestions, visualizations, taking action. There's many things. Self-analysis, meditation, surrounding yourself with empowering information, removing out of the existence disempowering information, giving new meaning to the sensory input that you take in. See, because the conscious mind, we'll talk about this in a moment, has the ability to decide and choose meaning. And that's why the conscious mind is called the guard or the guardian to the subconscious. So let's look at an example here. And this was brought up in the video. Awareness is the only thing we are seeking. Generally, people earn $50,000 a year, for example, because they're aware of earning $50,000 a year. They're not aware of earning $100,000 a year, and they're only aware of how to earn $50,000 a year because of their current state of awareness. And they would like to know, most people would like to know how to earn 100,000 a year, but they have not increased their awareness. And if I explain a concept to you on business strategy or marketing or whatever, and it can seem very complex, if you stick with it and I say it to you over and over again until something clicks inside of you and you understand how it works, that's when you hit the point of awareness. So repetition of information helps us increase our awareness. That's why we say the same thing over and over again, especially when it comes to changing the paradigm around. Now, when you change the paradigm around, one of the things that happens is you start to realize how to change the paradigm around. And then you realize that everything in this world that you experience is a net result of your thinking, and by changing the paradigm around and you watch the external world change, you realize that the difference between where you are right now and your goal or your vision, whatever it is you want to create, is your paradigm. And since the paradigm is hidden, it is darkness, it is unconscious, we're not aware of it, one of the goals is to become aware of it. And we do that by consuming this kind of information. One of the highest priorities that I recommend everybody be actively involved in is the study of yourself, learning about yourself. For the most part, most of us invest far too much time learning about others and the external world and far little time learning about themselves, which is why I'm a huge emphasis on learning how to learn, learning how you learn specifically if you want to get better at learning. Instead of learning things, invest some time in learning how to learn so you can learn those things even faster, more efficient. Learn about the various learning modalities. Learn about the things that interest you. There is so much to you that you have not learned yet, and if you invest the time every day to learn about yourself through journaling, self-reflection, and observing what happens in the external world and relate it back to your thinking, you are going to find the secrets to yourself to be able to create any life that you want. And awareness is the key. This is what we're talking about when we're referring to awareness. So you've got your conscious mind and you've got your subconscious mind. The conscious mind is the thinking mind, the educated mind. And contained within the conscious mind are the intellectual factors: perception, reason, will, memory, imagination, and intuition. The conscious mind has the ability to choose. You can choose the kind of information that you're taking in. You can choose what action you want to take. You can consciously choose. However, we don't make the right choice a lot of time. Why is that? It's because what's really in control is the paradigm. See, perception, reason, will, memory, imagination, and intuition is altered by the paradigm. Altered. So one of the things we have to do is we have to get deeper into understanding ourselves so that what we can learn how to do is make conscious choices and align the paradigm with that conscious choice so that choice becomes natural, organic, automatic. If a person starts to really go deeper into this stuff, you'll tap into more of the further realizations, which I'm not going to get into in the video. Self-realization stuff that was covered by Yogananda, deep stuff like the levels of consciousness and so forth. But for the most part, understand something. The paradigm alters your perception of reality, even your reason, and your will and your memory and your imagination. So you can consciously say you want to make 100,000 a year, but yet for some reason you can't do it. And you will go out there and study and seek guidance and whatever, and you'll find that it just does not work. No matter what, you still can't seem to create those results, even though you have access to all the information. In fact, what you're doing is you're educating the conscious mind. But what's really in control is what's within the subconscious mind, which is the paradigm. Let's talk a little bit about the subconscious mind. It's the emotional mind. It accepts information and it cannot reject information. In the earlier stages, when we were children, our intellectual faculties, the ones we're talking about here, were not developed, so we accept everything and anything that anyone tells us. We don't really question it, we just accept it. And unless we were born in an environment that was very nurturing, creative, that was infused with empowering information, we probably have disempowering, negative information that was in our subconscious mind, that is still in our subconscious mind. And this information goes and creates our paradigm. And what happens is, as we navigate reality, as we go through life, we go and recreate what is within our subconscious mind through external circumstance, in people, in environment, and so forth, over and over again. Over and over again. Now, one of the things that happens when we get so caught up in recreating what's in our subconscious mind is we become identified and rooted to that external world. We look for facts, figures, information that supports why we are where we are based on how the paradigm sees itself. So if you see yourself as a person that does not have the ability to change yourself, you're going to more likely communicate from the perspective of everything that happens to me is luck, chance, and it's beyond my control. And you're going to find supporting information to validate it. If within your paradigm you have something a programming that you may have learned, either through a book or through experience or something, that says that the external world is a reflection of the inner world, and I can change the inner world, and then I can observe as my external world changes, then what will happen is whatever shows up in your external world, you can question it. That's a higher degree of reason. That's a higher degree of exercising perception. It's looking at perception as a projection from within. Rather than seeing yourself as an effect of the world, you see yourself as the cause. You are the projector. So it's the subconscious mind that has all this programming that is within us that is perhaps disempowering, negative, doesn't really help us achieve what we want, plus has programming within us that says that you can't go out and change the paradigm. Again, all this stuff we learned. Now, interesting it would be if we had learned from the beginning that we can go and change our belief systems around. Can you imagine our imagination, how it would be, how we would navigate reality? Well, most likely what would happen is, perhaps if you're in a current stage of personal development right now, where you've been in it for a while, is that you're at the point where you realize that everything that happens to you, you can go and change it by changing yourself within, by working with something like the Robert Dilts model, working with somebody or whoever to evolve your perspectives, mentor, coach, consultant, peer group, mastermind, to evolve your perspectives and then change what happens to you in the external world. Change how you feel about it, the meaning, and so forth. They work with your conscious mind to program your subconscious mind. You allow that programming that's empowering to go into your subconscious mind through repetition, through affirmation, and so forth. Now, if that ends up happening, then you end up changing your reality around relatively fast. Now, the interesting thing about the world we live in is that this kind of information is rare if you look at the consensus of information that there is out there. Most people believe that the external world is happening and they are an effect of it and they don't have power over it. Very few individuals believe, as far as the grand scheme of consensus goes, that they have control of the reality and they exercise the stuff that we're talking about here consciously and make it so. So thus, it's reasonable to assume then that a lot of information that's out there is going to reveal to you a truth that may be true for them, but it's not going to help you with reprogramming your subconscious mind or paradigm, that you are the effect, that there's nothing you can do about it. And the more you consume this information, here's what happens. Your subconscious mind accepts and does not reject. It's the emotional mind. Now, it's the emotional mind, the subconscious mind, which is responsible for the paradigm, which is a multitude of habits. And this is why it's important to form good habits, because it's another way to change the paradigm around. There's many ways of changing the paradigm around. We're just scratching the surface in this video. Once you start to consume the good information and you internalize this kind of stuff, everything starts to change. But if you do not, what will happen is when you take action, or you're about to take action, let's go back to the chart here, towards the thing that you desire, which is going to confront you with your terror barrier, what's going to happen is you're going to experience this and you're not going to know what to do. You're not going to realize that it's the paradigm that's fighting you. And it's just in your mind, and your mind is manifesting emotions, chemical reactions, and whatever in the body, preventing you from taking that action. And if you don't know what to do over there, most likely you'll default to bouncing back into your comfort zone. But if you know this information through repetition and feeding yourself with empowering information and so forth, that has been supported by all the other things that you have been doing. In other words, you've made a commitment to yourself to be in this for the long haul, and you've removed disempowering information or the meaning you're giving to information from a disempowering perspective from entering your subconscious mind. That programming that's in there that's supportive of evolving the paradigm will almost reveal to you in a voice, move forward, step forward. I can speak to this from personal experience. When I have a situation where I'm excited and I'm scared to move forward, a voice shows up in me and says, step forward, move forward. I believe that this voice is a net result of all the programming that I have placed consciously in my subconscious mind by consuming empowering information, being around empowering information, people, circumstance, and so forth, and internalizing it while removing disempowering information that manifests itself as a voice that says, step forward, move forward. And this happens to me over and over again. Now, here's the thing. You have reason and you have will and so forth. So the voice doesn't show up unless it's something that is going to be a win-win-win. So again, I'm not interested in stepping out of my comfort zone for pointless reasons. I'm looking to create my vision, achieve my goals, and move on to higher level goals. And so what happens is when a step shows up that I have to take and it begins to excite me and scare me, all my faculties go to work, intuition, everything go to work and generate that one response that says move forward. And then when you do that repeatedly, you break through the paradigm. So in the earlier stages, what happens is this can be kind of overwhelming and difficult to do, because I remember when I first started working with this information, even prior to watching this video, I was overcoming and stepping through my comfort zone. I've been into personal development since I was 20 years old. So we're looking at 19 years of my life dedicated to personal development. When I first came across NLP and different kinds of information, I remember getting the texts and so forth off the internet. I didn't have no clue what they were talking about, and they were using all these different kinds of languages, patterns, and words like paradigm. Didn't make any sense. But it's the repetition of consuming this information and acting upon it over the years that not only helped me break through plateaus, which allowed me to rise up in corporate to a really good level, leave my corporate job 10 years later, start my IT business, grow that, transition out of that, and create more and more success, including success in all areas of my life. It's been this information. The repetition of consuming it and acting upon it got me to a point where now the paradigm, I can sense it, I can feel it, and I can break myself through it. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is in the earlier stages it can seem difficult. So that's why it's important to study this stuff, take action, surround yourself with a mastermind, and get a coach or a mentor to help you with this. And then after a period of time, you'll become self-sufficient. You'll become self-realized, and you'll be able to do this by yourself over and over again. And there'll be even more challenging situations where you could still benefit of having a coach or a mentor. But for the most part, you'll have a lot more of control in your life than if you don't apply what we're talking about here. In the book Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz talks about the self-image. The self-image. The self-image is buried deep within you. It is part of your paradigm. It is how you believe yourself to be at a deep level. Most of us are not conscious of this self-image. This is another reason why, and another way of looking at it, why we cannot go past that terror barrier, because the self-image does not allow us. If you want to be a person of high confidence, but you don't have confidence within yourself, and I recommend watching that video I did on the self-confidence formula and using the subconscious mind reprogramming strategies that I talk about to evolve your self-image. If you don't have that self-image, then you're going to experience the terror barrier in a very crippling way, because your paradigm wants to keep you where it is. But if you evolve your self-image, all of a sudden you'll notice that that voice shows up. That's what is to be said about self-confidence. Okay, self-confidence. You don't need confidence from others or the external's approval. You take action because the voice from within said, take action. That is self-confidence in the purest form. You know you have to take the action. It's for the benefit of all. And you do it. The voice tells you to do it. If any kind of terror barrier comes up, you listen to it, you move forward. It's like having an accountability buddy standing right there behind you saying, go. Now, evolving your self-image is part of the personal development journey. You have to take that into consideration. That's why we make a lot of emphasis. I put a lot of emphasis on this throughout the videos. And if you haven't watched the video that I did on the Robert Dilts model, you have to watch that video, because over there, that model, the Dilts logical levels of learning, is an excellent model for change, used by coaches, consultants, mentors, world-class coaches, consultants, and mentors. Okay, so that's some powerful stuff. It's a conceptual model that will help you create your dreams, bring forth your vision. And one of the biggest parts of it is your identity. That's what we're talking about when you say self-image. That has to change. That has to evolve. And when it evolves, less friction from the terror barrier, less resistance from the terror barrier, and or the voice shows up that tells you to move forward. So again, the paradigm has the ability to distort intellectual factors. That's why you take two individuals and you sit them beside each other. One person has created success to making maybe a couple $100,000 or $500,000 a year, and the other person was never able to start a business, and they literally have never made their first dollar. And one of them is so confident about sales, marketing, business systems, and so forth because they were able to do it for many years. The other person is petrified by everything. If you ask them certain questions about how reality works, you can see and understand their perception. It's going to be most likely radically different. Their reasoning of how the world works is also going to be polarizingly different. The level of willpower, their memory, their imagination is going to be different, and their ability to tap into their intuition and trust themselves is also going to be different. Okay? Somebody who has an evolved paradigm, who believes that all things are possible, who has been successfully working with this information and studying Think and Grow Rich and these philosophies for an extended period of time, will have a greater ability to trust and listen to their intuition. That's why Steve Jobs said, don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. He's not saying don't listen to people. He's not saying don't keep an open mind. He's saying don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. Your inner voice comes first. And you tap into it and you speak to it clearly through practice and repetition of implementation of what we're talking about right here. If a person does not take action and break through the terror barrier, there's one side effect that is very prevalent today in this world that will happen to you as a result of not taking action but just consuming this information. You'll see a lot of people who have superior knowledge, but yet they have inferior results. They might tell you all kinds of sophisticated ways of creating something. They might be able to explain things with such vivid detail, but yet they don't have the results. Now, this doesn't make them messed up. This just brings to our awareness what's really going on here. If you sit down with these individuals and you ask them about the actions that they've taken, what a lot of times you'll find is that they're afraid to take the actions. In other words, they haven't done the work to change the paradigm. See, this is part of the journey to creating success. The information is important. Knowledge is important. But what we want is results. And results happen by taking that knowledge and applying it. Now, when you apply knowledge in business and personal development, that's when you're going to hit the terror barrier. Because that's when you have to go out and make the sales. That's when you have to do your prospecting. That's when you have to put yourself out there and potentially get rejected. Now, this doesn't just apply for business. This applies for relationships and friendships and just about any area of your life. Health and fitness. You can study health and fitness stuff all you want, but if you don't go to the gym or do the exercise routine over and over again consistently, breaking past your physical terror barriers or whatever barriers you've got, physical, mental, emotional, the results will stay the same. So you have to take the actions. And a paradigm is like a prison with no doors because it only exists in the mind. Now, what I'm emphasizing here is that all is mind, just like how we talk about in the Kabbalah. Everything is mind. And the external world is a materialization of the mind. And the more you work with this information, the more you'll gain the awareness. Remember we talked about awareness going up, that this is how it is. And then you can really understand some of the other more, nebulous and abstract concepts surrounding things like law of attraction or creating success in Think and Grow Rich, especially the concept about vibration. Because if you look at this diagram right here, what's really happening is this body, and this is the body with the subconscious mind and the conscious mind here, is going into XY vibration, which is fear, and it is attracting the end result, materializing the end result of fear that's being put out. But when you step through it and you take action, you project faith, confidence, and you begin to materialize your vision. Then eventually what happens, and we'll go back to the example of the person that makes maybe $500,000 a year and the person that has never made any money in their business. The person that makes maybe $500,000 a year and has been in business for many years, if you ask them about creating a business, launching a new product, running a marketing campaign, they'll say, yep, we'll just do it, and they'll go ahead and just run it. And that energy that they put out, that vibration that they put out on the faith of the campaigns that they run and everything they do materializes as the equivalent. If you project fear, you will receive fear. But that's the paradox. You have to go through it, through repetition, to break down the fear. That's why fear needs to be eliminated. Because what you put out will come back to you in the context of what we want to create as far as business and personal development success. So when we encourage fear, when we don't go through the terror barrier, we are encouraging the vibration of what is related to that fear. We're going to materialize facts, circumstance, people, environments that reveal to us about ourselves, which is a reflection of that fear. So fear causes us to stay where we are and scares us by materializing something that is based on the vibration of the fear that we experience to push us back into the comfort zone. Feeling is actually a description of our vibration. Confidence, faith, which, by the way, if you have achieved a lot of success, you'll have those, not necessarily because you had it prior, but perhaps you have developed it on the journey. Some have it prior. Some build up their faith and confidence. It is possible to evolve your self-image through visualization and subconscious mind audios and stuff like that, using the Neville Goddard information to make it happen. But if you can't do it, start with something small. If you can't achieve the high-level goal that you want, start with something small and then materialize that. But one thing that happens is if you notice any kind of terror barrier that shows up, realize that that's a limiting factor. And by entertaining that fear that shows up in the terror barrier, you are materializing that in the external world as a circumstance, a person, or an environment because you're in that vibration. So you can realize now as we get deeper into this discussion, the importance of ensuring that you keep yourself in an empowered, faith-based, confidence-based state by consuming and programming your subconscious mind with information that is related to those states. Because then whatever you choose to do as far as your vision, you will bring that energy and materialize it. If you don't, it is probably because you were consuming, and maybe you have for a long period of time prior to this been consuming, and it's materializing in circumstance, negative information, negative programming. However, now that you have a certain level of awareness, and if you haven't achieved it yet, that's why you got to watch this video over and over again till you have achieved it. And I promise that the more you listen to this, the more you watch it, the more you go and apply it, the more it's going to reveal to you. Until you do this, you'll get to a certain level of awareness where you realize that, wait a second, this is how it works. I have the ability to choose and accept or reject any kind of information, and I can choose the meaning that I can give to whatever sensory input that I get, because it's important that I do so, because that information is going into my subconscious mind, which is my emotional mind, and must accept the information that I take in, primarily the meaning that I give to the information. And I can choose the meaning. So I'm going to do this by being aware of the kind of information that I take in. And information goes in, I'm going to choose the meaning that I give to this information. And ideally, I want to make sure that the information that's going in is already being presented in a way that is presented in an empowering way, or it's giving you empowering information that moves you forward. And when you do this regularly, your paradigm will change. And then when you have to encounter a situation where you kind of have to make the paradigm change to evolve into a higher version of yourself or step into a new self-image, which is the self-image that you have consciously constructed on your vision board, and you experience the terror barrier, the voice from within will say, move forward. So remember this, thoughts that harmonize with the vibration are the thoughts that feel comfortable. So let's just look at this as a scenario of the diagram here. This person who is right here, comfort zone, is experiencing X thoughts consciously, subconsciously, and getting X results. Might not be the best results, but they're consuming information that feeds that information to subconscious mind, relates into conscious X-based thoughts, and as a result of it, they create the reality based on that paradigm. All that kind of information that they're consuming is going to feel comfortable to them. Disempowering information will actually feel comforting to them. If a Y idea comes in, then all of a sudden things begin to change internally. And when the paradigm evolves, that information that was once part of their comfort zone, that felt comfortable, no longer feels comfortable to them because it's not in the same vibration. The more you continue to do this work on yourself, the more you're going to feel uncomfortable when you're around disempowering or negative information being consumed from anywhere, any kind of news or music or so forth. And you're going to consciously choose, and you're going to feel better around empowering information, whereas before, maybe that information felt comfortable for you. Because that information belonged at that paradigm, that vibration. And maybe the new information you're consuming now is part of the new vibration that you're going in. Whatever vibration you go in, and again, if this sounds abstract and nebulous, I promise that you will understand this kind of stuff more and more, because what we're really doing is we're explaining things that don't exist physically but are metaphysical. We know that they exist. You have to know that they exist and understand that they exist through an inner eye of understanding. But yet, any one of us who's watching this video right now can reference this back to an experience you've had in your life. And the more you embrace that experience, that reference experience, the more this information will make sense to you. But more importantly, this information will help you create the results that you want. So the vibration that you're in dictates the results that you have. The external world is a net result of the vibration that you are in, that you feel. And all throughout the day, we move in and out of different vibrations. But for somebody who really understands how this stuff works, what they do is they place themselves in consciously in environments, circumstances, around information that is relevant to the vibration that they consciously choose to want to be in, which is the vibration in relation to the vision. Now, I'm going to assume that every one of you watching my video, because I made many videos on this, has a goal, has a vision. And if not, I recommend you create one. Watch the Robert Dilts video, watch the Ikigai video, because that's when this stuff really starts to become fun. Because then you have something to work with to actually put this theories that we have, which by the way is based on experience, over and over again. That's why I said I didn't make this video 6 years earlier. I made it now because I wanted to have a high level of expertise and experience from implementation. As a result of this, I attracted my relationship. As a result of this, I raised my income level. As a result of this, I created more success by not working more, but by working less, by creative thinking and certain kinds of thought processes that are only found in certain kinds of vibration that is so contrarian to maybe how most people think, that The only difference is that I had gone further as a result of this information and gone into vibrations that I now call home vibrations that are different than the vibrations of those that don't have the awareness to see in the possibility of doing the same thing. But this is a journey. You can take this information and you can apply it, or you don't have to. That's our choice. That's our conscious choice. We have that choice. But when we begin to apply it, we have to remember that the paradigm is going to keep you where you are until you move past the terror barrier. And if you don't move past the terror barrier, and we mentioned this earlier, you'll have superior knowledge of how this stuff works, but you won't have the results. And I want you to have the results. Have the knowledge and have the results. So take the action and crash through the terror barrier. Whatever it is for you, sit down, pause this video, and ask yourself, what is my goal? What is my vision? What is it that I want to create? And then ask yourself, what do I have to do to create that vision? And you're going to come across some tasks that are going to move you into an X and Y vibration. It's going to feel a little uneasy. And it's going to excite you because you know that's the thing you're going to have to do. And when you're about to take that task, you are going to experience the terror barrier, and you have to crash through this terror barrier. You have to move through it. Watch this video and watch the Bob Proctor video over and over again till you crash through that terror barrier. And when you do, you have to honor and support that new seed that you've planted. Keep feeding your mind with supporting information, and the paradigm will change, and then something really beautiful will happen. Everything that's not related will just go away. As Neville Goddard puts it, what you want will materialize and everything else will dematerialize. If you want to copy this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.